Welcome to the California Football Officials Association Week 1 2023 Instructional Bulletin. A lot of games this week as we kick off Week 1 across Southern California. And remember, there's a quiz in the description of the video below in YouTube. Please remember to complete the quiz for instructional credit. Let's get into it. In our first clip this week, I wanted to briefly discuss forward progress. And Rule 2, Section 15 of our NFHS rulebook, Article 1 states that forward progress is the end of the advancement of the ball towards an opponent's goal in a runner's possession or the forwardmost point of the ball when it is fumbled out of bounds and it determines the dead ball spot. In this particular clip, we are going to see the quarterback make a quick pass to one of the inside receivers who catches the ball at the A20. That receiver is then immediately contacted by a defender and driven back to about the 16 or 17 yard line, where this is incorrectly spotted by the flank. In this particular situation, because the ball was in Team A's possession at the A20, and then contact was made by the defender and driven back, and at no point, was contact lost by this defender, we're going to want to give Team A the ball at the A20. For our next play, we're going to look at a great example of illegal substitution. And here I'm referencing Rule 3.7 and Articles 1, 2, and 3, in which an illegal substitution is going to be a dead ball foul, whereas Articles 4 and 5 discuss when illegal substitution is a live ball foul. In this particular example, the referee and the umpire have both counted 12 players on the offense. The snap looks to be pretty imminent here, and at this point you see that the quarterback and the snapper are definitely not on the same page as this 12-player receiver and the sideline. And before they put the ball into play, the referee does a great job shutting this play down and announcing a dead ball illegal substitution, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Now, if this were a defensive player, Article 4 says that during a down, a replaced player or substitute who attempts unsuccessfully to leave the field and who does not participate in or affect the play constitutes an illegal substitution. And in that case, this would be a live ball foul. Here in Week 1, thought it would be a good opportunity for us to talk about illegal formations. We know from 725A that no more than 4 A players may be lined up in the offensive backfield at the snap. In this particular clip, we see a lot of very confused receivers at the top of the screen. I think I'm on. No, are you on? No, it's me. I should be off. Okay. In your units this week, talk about how flank officials talk to receivers if they're on or off. I know some point at their leg, others use verbal cues. Anything in particular isn't necessarily right or wrong, but good to have some consistency across your unit for your schools. In this particular case here, we do have 5 offensive players in the backfield at the snap. This is a live ball foul for illegal formation and forced 5 yards from the previous spot. In this particular play, we're going to look at a great example of holding, but I'm more impressed with the mechanics of the covering official in this case. We've got a back coming out of the backfield and a backwards pass to that back. We know that this pass is backwards because the covering official at the bottom of the screen is punching into the offensive backfield, signaling to his crew, everyone in the stadium, and even us watching this film, that he had that pass going backwards. That's important because if that backwards pass hits the ground, that is still a live ball that can be picked up by Team A or Team B and advanced. If it was a forward pass, then we just have it incomplete and we kill the play. But as this official continues to officiate, he sees the action in front of the runner. He's not ball watching, but he's watching that action at about the 7 or 8 yard line, right at the point of attack, and you've got a big hold, according to Rule 9.2.1, that springs this runner and allows him to get into the end zone for a touchdown. And really quickly, let's talk penalty enforcement. Based off of the new table in 10.4, this play ends beyond the line of scrimmage, and the foul is beyond the line of scrimmage. In this case, because it's a scoring play, the basic spot is the goal line or the end of the run. The foul occurred behind the end of the run. Therefore, we will enforce this penalty from the spot of the foul.
For our next play tonight, wanted to bring in another special guest. We've got Jon Stein from the San Fernando Valley unit joining us. Jon was nice enough a couple months ago during one of our off-season CFOA instructional meetings to go through this play with us, and it was such a great teachable moment. Wanted to record it and get it into this week's bulletin. Jon and I have had the opportunity to work together a bunch of Saturdays. Great back judge, great deep, just got promoted into Division II Lone Star in the NCAA there. So congratulations, Jon, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate you having me on here. This is a play that we had in the San Fernando Valley unit last season. It is a PAT, point after touchdown. Notre Dame had scored on the play prior. So we want to talk a little bit about our pre-snap mechanics and identifying numbering exceptions. As we know, on a normal scrimmage play, we have to have 5 players on the line, numbered 50 through 79. But the rulebook gives us some exceptions on scrimmage kick formations. On 4th down, we can have all 5 of those players wearing eligible numbers, and we need to be able to identify that they are ineligible by position. And on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, only the snapper is eligible to be using that numbering exception. So we would need to identify that the snapper's number is eligible, but he is ineligible by position. So on this play, traditionally, we have taught for our officials under the goalposts to identify the eligible numbers potentially on their side of the formation and then announce those out loud to the crew. And then they are responsible for remembering those 2 numbers throughout the play. What we'll see on this play as I run through is that we're going to have a broken snap and eventually a successful try here as we get 2 points on the catch by number 19. Unfortunately, if we go back to the beginning, we're going to identify that number 19 is actually the snapper on this play. And so even though his number is eligible, he is ineligible by position. So what we are teaching this year in San Fernando is that we want these 3 officials to be scanning the line and looking for a numbering exception. In other words, we want to see, are there any eligible numbers lined up in ineligible positions utilizing this numbering exception? So on this play, had we done that, we would have had 3 officials whose only responsibility in terms of remembering numbers would be number 19, because he is the only player on this formation utilizing the numbering exception. When we need to identify all of our eligibles, we potentially have 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and then we also have a holder and a kicker who are eligible. So a lot more to remember. So if we run this play now, we would expect having 3 officials only needing to remember 1 number in terms of ineligibles downfield with eligible numbers. We would want 3 flags on this play because it should be something that all 3 can identify quickly. The fouls, technically speaking, would be ineligible downfield and illegal touching because number 19 caught the ball in the end zone but was ineligible by position. When we report that to the referee, we would only want illegal touching to be announced and awarded. We'd have technically a 5-yard penalty, but because this is a try and a loss of down, the try would simply be no good. We would not want to announce ineligible and decline that penalty since we have illegal touching with the loss of down. So that's how we'll be doing the San Fernando Valley unit. We feel that this will allow our officials to more quickly and readily rule on these numbering exception plays.
Awesome, Jon. No, thank you very much. This was great. Good luck this season. Stay healthy, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate you having me on, and good luck this year.
And that's going to do it for week 1. Again, special thanks to our guest speaker, Jon Stein from the San Fernando Valley unit. Have a great week 1, everybody. Slow whistles, and let's call what we see.